First of all, Congressman, tell me what you feel are the two biggest issues facing New Mexicans and how you plan to tackle them if you are reelected.
It's hard to just narrow it down to two issues, but as we look at the district, jobs, the economy, and education seem to be at the top of everyone's mind. We need to make sure that we're concentrating on the middle class, on hardworking people, and see what we can do to work with small business owners to get things moving again, make sure they have the resources they need, and continue to cut taxes for the middle class and for small businesses, create those incentives that'll give them the resources to be able to get things moving.
Okay. Now, looking back at this race, did you have any idea how close this race would be, and why do you think it is so close? I mean, Tom Mullins is a relative unknown.
Well, all over the country there's close races, and it's something that you should never take for granted. You have to continue to work hard, always work hard. Listen to your constituents, travel and visit with families in all parts of the district, and that's what I'm going to continue to do. You know, there's different polls that are out, some that have different people up, some that have other people down, but the one that matters most is the one on Election Day. And that's why we're just going to continue to travel hard and visit with folks and make sure we're listening and earning their trust.
Okay. What do you think is your opponent's biggest weakness?
Well, you know, I think Tom's a nice guy. But unfortunately, when we're talking about immigration policy or Social Security or even tax breaks for the middle class, he's wrong on every one of those issues. He came up with this idea that we should put landmines on the border. He's came out very clearly and said he wants to privatize Social Security. I'm absolutely against privatizing Social Security. And when I've been concentrating on cutting taxes for the middle class, his fair tax plan will actually increase taxes on the middle class. And that's bad for people. And I think that's what's wrong right now and the biggest difference between myself and my opponent.
Okay. Is there anything that you've said throughout the campaign that you wish you could take back? If so, what was it and why?
Well, through the campaign, I think it's important that you reach out and you're honest with your voters, you're honest with people, and that's why it's important that people pay close attention to this race. We've worked very hard to make sure that we're out there being able to talk about my positions on issues and not trying to flip-flop, which I think is unfortunate that my opponent has done. So going out there, we're just going to continue to talk about the facts, the truth, and reach out to our constituents as best as we can.
So nothing that you've said that you'd want to take back? No? Okay. There's 3 weeks left until Election Day. When people go into vote, if they haven't cast their vote already, and they're looking at that ballot and they see your name, they see your opponent's name, what do you want to be running through their minds when they see your name and if they're still undecided?
Well, I'm proud that I've grown up in New Mexico. You know, growing up on a small farm, raising sheep, the importance of making sure that we're attending to the sick and keeping that running, hard work, listening to the voters, and being from the area. But first and foremost, that, you know, I understand the frustration that people are going through, and it's a frustration that I share. And we have to make sure that we keep our focus on the middle class, and I hope they know that I'm taking that with me to the job and to the responsibility every day. And I'm going to make sure that I never forget about the people that I love most, which are here in New Mexico, and this beautiful place that we call home.
Okay. One last thing. If you are reelected, sent back to D.C., what's going to be your top priority when you get there?
Again, seeing what we can do here in New Mexico specifically, working with some of our local leaders, our business leaders, our entrepreneurs, hardworking people here in New Mexico, to see how we can develop a stronger environment so they can create more jobs, especially in the tech sector, manufacturing, commercialization, taking advantage of the national labs, Sandia and Los Alamos, the Air Force Research Labs with what's taken place to be able to come up with innovative ideas, but take those ideas and put them into practice and build things here in New Mexico. We have to develop that sector here at home, and I'm hoping that we can work on it together so we can create good job opportunities, again, making sure that I'm listening to them to create the resources that they need so we can do this together.
Okay, and then one last thing, I'll give you the same opportunity I gave Tom, just in 10 to 15 seconds for people who maybe are undecided. You can explain yourself as a candidate or, you know, just a last pitch to them, if you will, and you can start whenever you'd like.
Again, my name is Ben Ray Lujan, and it's been an honor to be able to serve as a representative for the 3rd Congressional District for the people of New Mexico. There's some clear differences in this race, especially when we talk to our seniors. You know, they tell me day in and day out, very clearly, they do not want their Social Security privatized, and I oppose that. My opponent supports privatizing Social Security. As we look forward to seeing how we can work with educators, with our kids, with our families, with education, making sure we make investments in our children's future. I support a strong Department of Education and making sure we make those investments all the way from pre-K through higher ed. My opponent wants to get rid of the Department of Ed and wants to cut access to that federal funding, and that's just wrong. You know, I humbly ask everyone to get out and vote. It's an important election, so please exercise that right. And looking forward just to continuing to learn from everybody and listen to everybody out in New Mexico.